What I'm going to talk about in this video might be something that I don't often talk about, but I've been going through something for, I don't know, at least, like a week or so now, maybe 2 weeks. But it has been a fundamental, foundational theme of my life. For as long as I've known, I have had a very serious fear of death, right? Um, and I've explored it in different ways and everything. But it's just fascinating because now what I'm doing is I'm actually utilizing it as a tool to approach life in a much more wholesome way, right? Um, it's factual and inevitable that we are all going to move on someday. That's just the reality of it, right? And there are different things actually in I'm not going to give the movie away, but one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie, Fight Club. A massive theme of that has to do with a person's sense of mortality. Right? Again, I'm not going to. There's no spoilers here or anything. I just really appreciate how it approaches that, and I've really been sitting with it, and I've been thinking about living in a way that has death, has mortality at the forefront, right? Um, Something that I've been really challenged by is comfort and familiarity. And the question that I've been asking myself recently, like really honestly, is, am I actually doing what I want to do with my life? Am I actually happy, right? And what I've found is that I have been mistaking comfort and familiarity for happiness, and even contentment, right? Just like overall, like, like, okay, like life is okay. Um, Everything that I've learned, even though I may have not experienced it, is that life, like beneath and beyond all of the fucking noise, life is incredible. And throughout my entire life, I've been stopping myself for multiple different reasons from really actualizing the potential of living that way, living in a way that, actually speaks, you know, the technicolor reality of life, the vibrancy of life, the fucking fullness of life. My fear of death, as well as comfort and familiarity, which actually tie into fear of death, um, it's kept me trapped. Now I'm gonna kind of like multiply that by something else that I think is very fascinating. How often do we find failure to be a sense of death, right? We fear the shit out of it. So much so that it actually stops us from doing things because we fear a potential outcome, and so therefore we don't do something, right? Um, every time that I've been afraid of doing something and then I've finally done it, I've never not looked at that and wish I didn't do it, right? Everything that I want to do, it doesn't lie on the other end of. I don't think. I mean, I've heard this said before, right? That sorry for the pause. That I think we've all heard the saying, everything you want in life lies on the other side of fear. Um, I think it's all just a fucking illusion. I really do. Whatever it is that you're afraid of, I mean, don't get me wrong. Be safe about it and everything. Don't put your life or anybody else's life in danger. But I really think that we overcomplicate things too much. I think that we overthink things too much. I think that we create a big deal out of things too much, and I don't think that it's an accurate representation of what the actuality is or ends up being. And that's just it. I had a dream. I'll share this dream because I think that it's cool, and it kind of like points to a personal note of things, of where I am on my journey of just life and healing altogether. Um, I had a dream that I was at my parents' house, and I'm not going to give too much detail, of course, but I opened the bathroom door. The bathroom has 2 doors. I opened one side of the bathroom door, and water that was like nearly above neck high just came pouring out. It was above the counter, it was above everything else. It came pouring out, and it started flooding out into the hallway and into the kitchen. And I remember there being people at the dining room table, right? And I just remember trying to communicate to everyone, just like it was kind of like, look at this, guys. Oh my God, can you believe this? Look at this. Look at this. And I think I felt my fear of death at the most prominent stage it's ever been in that dream. And I felt that come over me in that dream. But it was so strange because, I mean, from what I remember, it didn't really seem like anybody else cared too much about it. But, like, you know, I know that I'm not the only person that fears death. I know I'm not the only person that looks at my own mortality and doesn't have somewhat of a, you know, skipping of a heartbeat, right? It's like, someday we're not going to be here, right? And then this is going to be recorded, and it's going to be put on the internet, and then maybe people in the future will watch it and be like, well, wow, yeah, you know? Something that I really want to consider here is the fear-love dichotomy, right? Not being so afraid, you know? If we're going to die, which we are, I mean, obviously it's not a matter of if, and I'm not here to scare anybody at all. This is not a fear-based thing. I'm not threatening anybody. I don't really think that failure is, I mean, obviously, yeah, like, if you do something and then you don't get what you wanted, then I guess you could consider it failure, right? But, like, in the same token, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Just continue, just go, just do, right? And that's really what this is all about. I think that when you embrace mortality, sorry, there's something in my throat. When you embrace mortality, you live more fully, you know, like really, really fucking embrace it. Like, so much so to the extent that it takes you out of comfort and familiarity and you actually do what it is that you want to do. That's what I'm talking about here. That's the real shit here. The real shit. You know, it's one thing to be repeating patterns from childhood that we're all familiar with and comfortable with and used to, right? And basically, as a result of that, being on autopilot. It's another thing to wake the fuck up out of that and to ask yourself if you're actually doing what it is that you want to. You know? All the while understanding that you're gonna fucking not be here someday. You know, that's the reality of it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's just the reality. I understand that fear of death and non-being are a very real let me put things into perspective real quick, right? Death is just an event, right? Death is just an event. Non-being, right? It was nearly forever before I was here, right? And it's going to be, I guess, forever once I'm gone. And once, you know, it's just the reality of it, right? That is the real contemplation. That is the real just insight and understanding of, oh, wow, like, this is fucking it. Like, and not to invalidate anyone or say that their experiences of life and maybe what they're going through or what they're grieving doesn't matter, but it's important to gain insight and perspective and understanding to really destroy this illusion that there's anything to be afraid of. There's fucking nothing to be afraid of. I mean, again, obviously, you know, danger, this, that, and the other. The obvious things that you would be afraid of as a fucking human, because we have fears that actually keep us safe, right? As we act, right? But other than that, there's nothing to be a fucking afraid of. There really isn't. Write what you want to write. Do what you want to do. Ask the girl out that you want to ask out. Be what you want to be. Do what you want to do. At that point, people's opinions don't fucking matter, right? Everything keeps a person locked inside of a construct that's a fucking illusion, limiting them from living the best life that they could possibly live. And oftentimes our fear of dying, our fear of death and non-being, you know, it fucks us up.